What's up, YouTube? This is Hector.
This is Drew.
And we're from Not2NerdyEnt Entertainment. Today we're going to be discussing the Walking Dead video game. And this is a really needed game for the video game industry. I thought it was great. I definitely liked it. So basically what we're going to go over is first what the game's all about. And then we're going to discuss each of our thoughts for the game. And the final point is we're going to be discussing the major decisions in the game. And there's definitely a lot of different decisions, but we're going to only go over the major decisions. So Drew, start us off. What do you think?
Okay, so overview of what the game is about. It's the Walking Dead video game. It's based on a comic book by Robert Kirkman. This whole entire game is about the zombie apocalypse. So you actually play as a character named Lee Everett. He's a history teacher and he's been convicted of a crime. I'm not going to get into specifics of what the crime is. Let you guys watch the videos to figure out what that is. But
it takes you a while to actually figure it out, though.
Yeah.
It's funny because other people are trying to figure it out, but at the same time you're trying to figure it out because you have options to say it right away, and you could also
reveal it. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you play as this character, and the whole entire Walking Dead is about basically decisions that you make and the different relationships you have with different survivors. So you have a band of survivors that you group up with, and you could either have certain types of relationships with some characters and other relationships, depending on your different choices that you make throughout the game. So this is it's kind of like a mixture between a point and click adventure game and like a role playing game.
Very similar to the Back to the Future style thing.
Yeah, it's the same exact developers. It's Telltale Games. They're known for the Sam and Max series, Jurassic Park, Back in the Future, like you said, and this is definitely their best title that they've done.
Without doubt.
Yeah, it's critically and commercially, this is one of their best titles. So the great thing about the game is you make all these different decisions, like I said before, and it's less like something like Left 4 Dead where it's just about shooting zombies. It's more about their relationships,
like Nazi zombies and Modern Warfare.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Call of Duty. Sorry, that's not Modern Warfare. Black Ops.
Right.
Got that confused there.
So Hector, tell us what you thought about the game.
Well, basically, I have a different feeling about the game because I love the comic book and I also love the TV show. Now, if you are a fan of either one, the comic book or the TV show, you definitely have to check out this game. This game was very suspenseful. There are certain things about the game, like the artistic style, the way it looks, I think that's what made it so successful, is because if they made it too realistic, it would have looked you would have felt like, it's Left 4 Dead, or it looks like the Call of Duty Nazi zombies, and we all seen that before.
Yeah.
But the fact that they made it like a comic book, like you felt like you're the one telling the story, and with the points that you can actually, you can decide what you're going to do next, and everything has like an outcome.
Yeah, I would say it's like kind of similar to Darkness 2.
Yeah,
we played earlier, that type of art style.
Yeah, the art style, yeah, but it's actually even more detailed, really more artistic, and it's still. You would think normally with an art style like that it's not going to be too cool. It's going to look fake when people die, but you still have emotion over it.
That's why I guess the point we need to make is that even though it had that type of art style, it definitely kept a serious tone of what he's known for the series.
Definitely kept a serious tone, and there's certain parts where you felt creeped out. The music in the background was working well. Like there's some music that makes it feel like a sad moment, like you realize what's going on, and it really found a way to make you feel like you are going through this zombie apocalypse with everyone else. Even though it's not zombies, let's get that straight. They're called walkers. They don't know that they're zombies. They don't know anything that's going on in the game. It's a whole new world. And that's what people have to realize. Just like the comic book and the TV show, it's a different world. It's a world where people don't know about zombies. They never heard about it. So they don't call it zombies. They just know that these people are walking dead. They're walkers.
Yeah.
That's all they know about them. They don't know exactly what's going on exactly. They just know what they see.
Yeah.
And I really like the interaction between each character. And I think that the character development is really huge in this game. You choose what your character. Like, if you want your character to be a good guy, a bad guy, a person that's a leader, a person that stays in the background, a person that, you get every option to make your character, to develop them the way you want them to. And not only that, the way you develop your character will affect other characters.
Yeah.
And that interaction was needed in the game. That's what makes this game so great. and it's only been 2 episodes, but I love it.
Yeah, that's another thing to talk about. This is an episodic game.
Yeah.
This is something that Telltale is known for. It's a very unique way of delivering games, and I think it has worked out because you know, the way that you make certain decisions, they carry over to the next episode. So that's what I think the key is to this episodic, you know, way of delivering things, is that these decisions are, you know, very important since they do carry over. So tell us, you know, what you thought about, you know, maybe some of these decisions.
The actual specific decisions, or alright, we'll go into that. So basically, certain decisions in the game. Now, I don't want to spoil everything for you guys, so I'm just gonna say some big decisions, like give you sort of like examples what kind of decisions to expect in the game.
Yeah.
There's one huge part later on in the game in episode 1. Let's start with episode 1. There's a choice where you have to save between 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have a choice to save this guy named Doug, or this girl named Carly, and it's a quick decision. Now, these choices they have arrows on the screen where you turn left, and then once you turn left, you press the X button, or A if it's A, right?
Yeah. Depending on what platform
you're playing. So you turn your left side, or you can turn the right side to try to save Carly. Mm-hmm. Now, you have to make a decision quick. All of these decisions are pretty much timed as well. Yeah. So you can't sit there and wait. Otherwise, you know, they make decisions for you.
And I think that's one of the great mechanics of the game, is that, you know, most games, like, you could sit there and really think about what decisions you have to make, where in this game, everything's timed, like you said. So, you know, depending on whether it's a dialogue choice or it's an action that you have to take, they're always timed for the most part if they're important decisions.
Now, if you think about it, it's like real life. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you don't have that much time to react. That's the reason why they did it. Like, you know, a walker's coming towards you. You don't have time to react. You have to make the choice now. You have to do something. But my point is, when you make your choice, whatever choice it should be, they all have a different outcome. And that person will stick with you for for so far between episode 1 and episode 2.
Right.
That's why it's a big choice. And, you know, each of them have a different route. It might change the story completely. Now, we noticed that it changed the story between episode 1 and episode 2. We don't know how it's going to change the story episode 3, 4, or 5. It might be something big. Who knows? The person that you saved today might be the one that saves you later on in the final episode. You know what I mean? You don't know what choices you made. Maybe you needed the person that you did not save later on. And who knows? They might show a flashback of that moment that you should have chose me. Yeah. I was here for you, like you should have chose me.
Yeah. Or it could be maybe one character dies because you didn't chose that. Person.
Exactly. So there's so many things that could come out of this choice, and I think that was the biggest choice. There's some small choices where you could pretty much, like I said, how we don't really know too much about Lee, and like you could have known more about Lee in the beginning, because there's times in the game where they ask you questions about your life and stuff like that, and you could choose to tell them, or you could choose not to tell them, or delay it and distract them and say something different. So in reality, like I didn't find out who Lee was till later on in the game in episode 1, because I kept lying and lying and lying until one person, the reporter, knew exactly who I was and what everything happened in the present day.
And there's also like great little decisions you can make too, which I appreciate, like the way people think about you. Like there's you know, there's options actually in the game. Did you keep those options on where, like, say for example, you know, it'll say, oh, this person, they noticed that, or something like that. You kept those type of things on?
I kept it on for the first time, second time I didn't. Okay, I already knew what to expect. I wanted to do that. I wanted to, you know, I wanted to figure it out on my own, but yet those stuff help you to say, because it's good to know that if you say something bad about someone, they're this person's gonna remember what you said about them. Or if you chose someone's side and you didn't choose the other person's side, the other person's like, they're gonna remember that you betrayed them.
Yeah. Like one I really liked was in the second episode. It's like you have this little girl that you're with, and like it's like you shared hope with her and stuff like that. Like I really like that, because it's like, you know, the way you know you present yourself to the characters is very important too. You know, because that you develop a certain type of relationship and trust with those different characters. So
it's definitely like I think so. Episode 1 really didn't have too many choices. Well, they had plenty of choices, but too many choices that really changed the game in a big way. So once you guys play the game and you actually you know, once you see the walkthrough, you're gonna see 2 different versions of walkthrough. Like all the right answers, the ones that you're pretty much supposed to say, and pretty much the worst possible answers, the ones that you know, normal people won't say. And they keep track in the game, which is pretty good to say the percentage of what people chose in the game. They'll say, most people chose the, you know, like they'll say like 80% of the people, you and 80% of people said this, or you and 20% of people said this. So it keeps track, a poll to let you know if you made the same choice as someone else is playing.
Did you like that feature, or do you think like ruins are immersion?
I like it. I like the feature because I think it's something that you want to know.
Yeah.
You want to know.
I think, you know, they obviously took that from Catherine, but right. But I liked it in Catherine, and for the same exact reasons I like it in this game.
It's definitely a good feature because you want to know like what other people thought too. You want to know, are you completely there with everyone else or not? Because like, to be honest with you, if it was a zombie apocalypse, you want to know what other people think. Like, what would you think? Would you have killed someone, or would you have saved their life? What would you do?
I think that's what makes the game interesting, definitely.
But now, like, moving on to episode 2. Episode 2 had a couple of choices there. That you want to start us off that one and say what?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, there's minor choices and then there's major ones. Like, I mean, I think the whole entire thing of episode 2 was just an overview without spoiling anything. Is that it's basically it's called Starve for Help for a reason, and I think, you know, after the beginning of the game, it's like really about like whether or not Lee takes that leadership role, you know, within the game, and that's what most of the decisions seem to be about. So, you know, it takes place, you know, in this motel location, and some of the, you know, decisions, you know, they're, you know, based off of, you know, you're in a zombie apocalypse, so some people are starving. So, you know, like one of the first decisions is, you know, who are you going to ration the food to? Because, you know, one of the characters, that was her job to do it, right? And that has to become your decision now. So I think it's more about taking that type of leadership role that Lee has to eventually take, and whether or not you actually want to be the leader or not, you know. What did you choose? You know, did you want Lee to be the leader? You think in the game?
What happened was there's different points where I chose no one's side, where the one girl, for my story, the way it ended up is the girl, Lily, was the one, she's trying to take control, and the other guy, Kenny, was trying to be leadership, you know? And I chose the option to be neutral and not choose like any of them. That's what I chose there. But when it came down later on, you had to leave the motel. We had to go over to another farm.
Right.
There's other people that came to us. They were trying to trade. Just give you a little preview what they're trying to trade gasoline for food. You know, so we'll give them gasoline. They're gonna give us food. That's how it's supposed to work. That's why we went to go visit the farm, just to make sure everything goes smoothly, whatever. And as they're questioning me and all this stuff, I made it clear to them that I was the leader. I told them I was the leader. And the other guy that I was with noticed I said that. And like it said that he remembered that. But I made it quite clear that I am the leader. And, you know, that's why I wanted to be the leader. He should have been the leader.
Well, in my story, I you know, I kind of said, oh, it's a democracy. We all work together. Like, I didn't want to become the leader, but I think at the end I eventually had to choose that role.
Like, it's the thing is, like, this game, the reason, the importance of episode 2, like in contrast from episode 1, is the fact that it's not only, like you said, it's about power, who's leadership. It's more about you seeing what it's like that not only the walkers are enemies. Like that's what the whole thing's about. Now, like when there's people who are starving, there's people who are dying. Now you become enemies against each other. It's survival of the fittest. Like it doesn't matter if you think that, you know, you guys are friends or not. There is no friends. Like, you can be friendly, but then when something happens, you try to save your own. Like, that's why constantly Kenny's going back and forth to save Duck, his son, or whatever. You know, and like they're constantly like that. No matter how much you think Kenny's on your side or anything like that, Kenny showed right in the beginning what he was all about. And because in the beginning of the game, there was a choice, you know, an episode. I'm not going to say how it was, but he chose to pretty much save himself and save his son, rather than help Lee. Now, if you want to know what that's about, you definitely gotta, you know, watch your podcast. I mean, not our podcast, the walkthrough, which will be right up here, a link to it. But anyway, basically, you know, that just shows, like, no matter how close you think you are to someone, when it comes down to surviving, you have to survive.
Yeah.
And that leads to another example towards the end of episode 2, which if you want to explain that, well, there's another choice.
Right. So like
there's 2 choices, but
yeah, like Hector said before, you get on this this farm once you're off the motel location, and you meet this strange kind of family, and since you're starving, they're offering to feed you basically, based on whether or not you help them around the farm. So I'm not gonna spoil exactly.
Which you have to see what these sickos are trying to feed you. That's all you gotta know.
Yeah.
You gotta see it. If you don't have the game, you don't have the game. Look at their walkthrough and watch what they feed you. That's a must see right there. You must see.
Right. Yeah. So based on what happens in that, it turns for the worse, of course, and you have to make a decision. Whether or not these 2 brothers, you're gonna take them out or not. Basically, so that's another big decision in the game. So, Hector, what did you do for that part in the game?
In that part of the game, I chose to kill both brothers.
Right, that's exactly what I did too.
And actually, at the end, we found out that was the 17%. Only 17% of people chose that. Out of the people that played. So that's a small percentage of the game that chose that. People that chose to kill both. I'm not saying they didn't kill any of them. It's the option to kill both brothers. Now, the second brother is the real test in the game. Now, I don't know what that's going to lead into, okay? But the second brother, which is the last, is towards the end, towards the end of episode 2. You have option to kill the second brother, okay? Now, if you kill the second brother like I did, it's sort of, you kill him in front of everyone else, okay? That is a spoiler right there. Just to let you know, that is a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler what's going to happen next because we don't know what happens next. So in reality, we don't know. Episode 3 is going to explain it to us. But what I think is going to happen, that's what we're going to explain now, what we think is going to happen next. But what I think is going to happen next in episode 3 is, now that I killed someone cold-blooded, because he was not a walker, he was not sick or anything, I killed him cold-blooded to protect everyone else. Because I knew that he was going to, if we didn't kill him, he's going to come back and try to hurt or attack one of us. So I took him out before he took us out. And to me, that's what the whole thing was about, that you have to sometimes sacrifice someone to protect the bigger group. And he did that. And right there, everyone looked horrified watching him go crazy and beat up the guy, and then finally you kill the guy and all that stuff. And it looked horrible, but...
Yeah. And you know what the thing is that I really like about this game is that it really looks at society. It's like certain people that have certain types of skills in the real world is looked down upon, but in a zombie apocalypse, it's kind of helpful, right? And that's what you kind of notice, who you side with. It's like you side with people who...
Well, we could tell that part of the game, but the part where Lee is a criminal. Like, I'm not gonna say exactly what he did, but he obviously is a criminal, and he in the beginning of the game, because some people saw the demo stuff. He's a criminal, and he was getting arrested. That's how it all started. He was about to go to jail, so that's how we know he's a criminal. But yet, like he just said, the criminal is looked upon like, yes, that's the guy. Like, there one part, I don't know if you're there, Kenny, right? Kenny, the door, right? There's a door in the farm that we have to go to the door, the back room. And Kenny's like, well, you could picklock that, right? Kenny's like, you can picklock. He's like, why? Why? He's like, because you're urban. Like, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like, exactly. He's everyone, and you can see how everyone's sort of using someone for something. And it's like everyone has their own motive and everything. That's what I love about the game. But what I was trying to get my point about the everyone watch him kill the other brother, is sort of like he took control and he showed leadership right there, and also showed fear to everyone else. To anyone else that would betray him or do anything, he would do the same to them. And I think that was needed, even though majority of people did not choose that option. I feel that was an important option because that shows who's the leader, who's in charge, and not to mention in The Walking Dead, at the end of The Walking Dead, the show. Last season, that was the same thing. The main character, he did the same exact thing. He killed someone cold-blooded to protect the group, and he sent that message to them.
And know what's interesting about it is it's 2 sides of the law. That's what I really like about it. Like in the show, it's a police officer, and you know, in this one it's a criminal. Yeah. So it's like it shows that either one could be a leader and have these specific skills. So what does that say? You know, it says a lot. Right?
It does.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, besides that, then there's one other decision that you make at the very end of the game, which is basically you once you're getting off this farm and you see it's an abandoned car, and you know, like the episode said, starve for help. You're once again, you have no food, and you know there's a bunch of supplies in there, and your decision is whether or not to take these supplies or not. So what did you do for that decision?
I chose to get the food.
Right.
So I chose to take the food. The reason why I chose to take the food is because what I felt was going to happen is that I felt like either way that someone in the group is going to take the food. But I didn't want to be undecided with them. I didn't want to be against them because I knew that we needed the food. I even said he was hungry.
I was like, after all I killed him, get hungry. Get a little hungry after all I killed him.
He was hungry. So I was like, I gotta eat some food. So I knew that either way it might happen. They might take the food anyway, and the group had to stay together. So we did that, even though the little girl was the only one that didn't like the idea. Yeah. But screw her. Right. Exactly. She won't like the idea with a full stomach.
So basically, what do you think that meant? Like, is that like another type of rift you think that would happen in the story, depending on whether or not you made that decision?
I think for that decision right there, I think either way, like I said, it was going to. People are going to take the food, and I think half the groups can take it, the other half will not, and that, I think once again that will cause drama, like a rift in it, that we're not working as a team. Because if you see the way that by taking the food, the way he grabbed the food and handed each one to a certain someone, it made it feel like, oh, this one is yours. Oh, this hoodie fit you. Yeah. And he handed something to everyone that they felt like, even like he handed to someone that he felt that it was perfect to give it to. Yeah. And it felt like everyone was together. It felt at the end of it, everyone worked as a team, and they were going to work together in episode 3. That's what he left it off as. Because if you chose not to, what's going to happen is, I guarantee you, Kenny, I didn't even do it yet, which I will do in the second option, Kenny is going to choose, Kenny's going to choose to get it for his family. Right. Okay? Exactly. So once he gets it for his family, what's going to happen then? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, are they going to pull sides? Hey, you're not, what are you going to do? They're going to split up again. Yeah. It's going to be Kenny on one side, Lily on the other side, and once again, Lee's in the middle.
Yeah. Or the major thing I'm wondering is if anyone in the group is going to leave, too. Yeah. Right? That's another thing that could be a possibility. Will they have 2 separate tracks where whether or not you leave or not, no one knows how varied this whole entire thing could be. I personally don't think it could be that varied where there's totally, completely different things, but you never know.
Well, I think there's one major part that, there's a bunch of major parts in the game that it might be enough to make someone move on, to separate. Yeah. Because there's still, like, friction, I'm going to say, between a couple characters. One is Lily, and one is Kenny. Okay? There's a choice in the game that you could have made that might have split it between Lee, and it might have been Lee, and there might have been friction between Lily. But either way, there's friction between 2 separate people in the storyline. So that might lead to something in episode 3. So I don't know. I like. What do you think is gonna happen in episode 3? What are you expecting to happen?
I'm thinking, based on the preview, episode 3, it's kind of like what we're talking about. Based on these decisions you made in episode 1 and 2, there's gonna be rifts between different types of characters. There's gonna be bigger rift between Lily and Kenny, depending on the decisions you made, who you sided with, because that was the major, conflict within the group is between those two, who wanted to be the leader, and then whether or not you took the role to be neutral or you were actually the leader. And, based on some of the decisions you especially made in episode 2 towards Lily, I think that's definitely gonna, it's gonna either turn your relationship for the worse or the better, depending on what whatever decision you made that had to do with her. So that's definitely what I think.
Either way, in the beginning of the game, I called her a biatch.
So you ended off in a bad note anyway.
In the beginning of the game, I'm just like, Like, I'm like, you're such a when he could say that, I was like, yes. I started saying, remember, I try to say everything bad. As bad as I can say to everyone. I call people say you're a jerk. Doug was talking, I'm like, shut up, Doug.
And also, I think some of my decisions, a lot of them, I'm maybe going back to Mass Effect, are we going to have some romantic options in this game too? You never know, right? If you save all the guys, what's going to happen? This is a zombie apocalypse.
Just to let you guys know, when you see my walkthrough, I meant to, in the first game, because the second game I'm going to change it up, but the first game I meant to save the other girl, the two choices I had, and I accidentally saved Doug.
Oh, you didn't have to think for Doug?
I was not, you know what I mean? So my options are they just shrank because I saved Doug. And Doug was kind of too close to me the whole game. Out there too, he's like, hey. He's like, I saw you in the distance. Really? Doug, stop following. He's a creeper, you know. He just kept following me the whole game. Like, came out of the woods and stuff. He's not even a walker. He's just
I know Doug is a nerd and he'd be helpful, but
Doug's a creep, dude.
There's enough nerds around.
He's like, he asked me why, so he's like, so what made you choose me? I'm like, I didn't mean to choose you, Doug. It's a glitch in the game.
So yeah, speaking about the glitches, how do you felt did the game play? You know the way it was presented, like they kind of had like like when you were fighting the zombies, you'd have like the cursor over it, kind of. Yeah. How'd that work out for you?
The game worked alright. There's just some moments. I don't know if it could have been my PS3 or not. It was downloaded, but there's some moments where it froze.
Right.
I don't know why it froze. There would be moments where it froze in between a cutscene, in between when I'm moving, or sometimes it'll freeze, and like I'm like, what just happened? Like,
I noticed I was playing on the PC version. It's not that graphically intensive a game, but there was some frame rate drops sometimes.
It was just weird, but I mean, overall, I didn't mind it because the game was so great. I thought. I mean, it was really good. It wasn't
any negatives you could see in the game that
It had some puzzles. It had some things for you to make you think what you need to do, what you need to do first before you do this, and it made you think. And I figured all them out on my own, it made you think. So I like
specifically episode 1. When you're in, I didn't like that part. In episode 1 where you had to, you were in like this drugstore and you had to figure out the puzzle. That drove me nuts.
That wasn't too hard. I actually got there right away. There one part that I didn't get right away was the gate.
I think that's what I'm talking about.
I just went out too early, and then I realized, oh well, maybe I know the style. Like I said, I played it Back to the Future. I played Jurassic Park. I know the style of the game.
I personally like that they strayed away from that. In the episode 2, a lot less, and I think that was for the better.
Yeah, episode 2 did it too. Episode 2 did it with the distraction. You had to distract the brother to go to back.
I guess they were just presented a little bit better because I actually figured those ones out.
Well, because for example, I know you guys let you know what we're talking about. It was part of you gotta go into a toolbox, let's say, but it's there, so it was easy to figure out. But I got that one right away.
Yeah.
But
I think in episode 1 it was a lot more traditional point and click where you have to click on every single last freaking thing throughout the room. Where in episode 2 it was more like you know what exactly you had to do, like the generator, right? That you know exactly what you had to do. You just had to figure out how to do it, right?
Well, yeah. Well, before we end this right now, I want to just give you guys a word of advice on playing any of these styles of games, especially this game. Whenever in doubt, you don't know what to do. There's always the talk button to talk to someone. No matter what, if you did not talk to everyone in the room, then you didn't do your job. You're supposed to talk to everyone in the room. Yeah. That's it. Because there's something else that they might say that we need to do, and if they say we're going to do it right now, do it now because that's what you're supposed to do before you're supposed to do something else. Right. And then when I went with the one girl, you found a remote control, all that stuff that you need later on. Yeah. It's because you have to talk to everyone in the room. That whenever you're in doubt, you're supposed to talk to everyone.
Yeah, and that's something that unless you played these type of games before, you might not understand. Yeah. Like you do have to talk to everyone. You don't have
to, but that's the way you know for sure what you're supposed to do next.
Right.
Because unless you already know what's going there, unless someone gave you a hint before and you didn't figure it out right away, sometimes you can't figure it out right away. Sometimes you need that one person to give you a hint that you just run and go do what you got to do.
So the game pauses and you're Lee Everett and you jerk around walking and you got to go talk to everyone. So that's when you know like you're in a certain where you have to talk to these different people and find the person that's going to tell you what you need to do for your next objective.
Like, the only part I'm shocked about the game that they did not do were certain parts in the game where I felt like we could have controlled a different character. Like, it shouldn't have just been Lee's perspective. Like, it could have been like, let's just say there's one part where we need help by the little girl and she went through like a vent or whatever. Let's just say, and that would have been a perfect option to control the girl, like to switch the point of view to her, and then we're going to do something. Our objective, and then go back. You know what I mean? Something like that. It could. There's certain points of the game where it could have worked to do it from a different person perspective. So you get to experience, you know, what's going on through someone else's eyes. That's what I think would have been pretty cool if they did that. But it's not bad the way they did. I'm just saying it would have been something else extra that you got to see through the eyes of someone else, so you kind of understand that character, not just your own character.
I mean, me personally, I think I'm kind of on the fence either way, but. You know, some of the decisions you make, you know, talking to you about, you know, what we did, and if you did something different than I did, I would kind of like to see a little bit more diversity there, maybe. I feel like sometimes certain plot points, either way, what you did, to a certain extent, like you end up kind of in the same way.
Well, some of them, yeah. There's a lot, that's what I'm saying, as I was trying to explain to you before, that there's not too many major decision breakers, but the thing is, though, right now, like
I'm definitely hoping
we don't know what it's going to lead to later. You know what I mean? But I still think, like, when you're designing the game or something, you have like a certain route, this way, and then you might have branches. But yet, no matter what, this way, the big decision and the little branches or small decisions, they'll still lead you a different way.
I think it's good for talking points, but I kind of would like that it be completely different at the end. But you never know.
So I mean, guess we just gotta wait and see for episode 3. So that's pretty much it. So overall, I liked it.
Definitely liked it. I loved it.
So I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so the next episode is coming out around, I think, mid of August. It hasn't been officially released yet. So.
Well, this one was delayed, so who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
It's going to be delayed till. So.
Definitely. But we're kind of going to keep this format until basically the whole entire series is released.
I think we might wait to do. You want to do 2 more episodes together and then just do 5 by itself and just finish it off?
Yeah.
And we do over the whole game. We do episode 5 and the whole game in general.
I think that's good.
So we do 2 episodes again. So
or you guys tell us what you want.
Whatever you guys want, pretty much.
Right? This is democracy, just like The Walking Dead, right?
Because it's not like we're going to have too many games coming up. Just kidding.
Yeah. August is a great time to release this, right? Yeah. There's not any games coming out in August. You know, July had so many games.
Maybe we should save it for October.
Just kidding. No, I'm thinking November 11th, maybe. Or
that's not a bad day. All right. Well, I guess that's it, YouTube. So this is Hector.
This is Drew,
and we're from Not2NerdyEnt Entertainment. See you.